honored members and guests. I'd like to thank the selection committee for choosing my good friend Billy Harris for today's induction into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. In my introduction of Bill, his story began in the village of Dorchester, New Brunswick, where he was raised and later became involved in local sports. I distinctly remember him as a village softball pitcher when he was 15 years old, playing on the senior team. He eventually starred as a junior baseball pitcher for the Dieppe Cardinals, leading his team to a maritime championship in 1949. And the following year, he joined the Moncton senior team, which featured a number of U.S. college players. He was signed to a Brooklyn Dodgers contract, and his professional career was to begin and last for 15 years, from 1951 to 1966. During that period, he enjoyed stints with the Brooklyn Dodgers and later with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Billy amassed 174 wins and 1,373 strikeouts in a truly remarkable professional career. A four-time All-Star, Billy tossed a perfect game in Memphis on June 14, 1953. Of all Canadians who pitched in professional baseball, Billy ranks first in minor league career shutouts with 45, second in strikeouts to St. Mary's native Rube Vickers, third in wins and fifth in games pitched, 436, and innings pitched, 2,461. His 0.83 ERA in 1952 still stands as an organized baseball record for pitchers with 200 or more innings in a single season. His won-loss numbers that year were 25-6. Former teammate Tommy Lasorda described Billy as one of the finest competitors to ever take the mound. Trapped in the pitching-rich Dodgers system, behind legends like Koufax, Drysdale, Newcomb, and Erskine, Billy didn't have much of a window to shine in at the major league level. Said Sparky Anderson, Billy came along at a tough time. If he'd pitched for another organization, he would have been a regular and a big winner. Both Tommy and Sparky were teammates of Billy in Montreal, and coincidentally were inducted into the Hall in 2006 and 2007, making this year a trifecta for the old pals and teammates. Bill has traveled from Kennewick, Washington, accompanied by his son Rick and daughter Gail, husband Brian Everett, and their two children. Unfortunately, his wife Alice couldn't make the trip because of illness. Billy was inducted into the New Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame in 1978. Would you please join me in welcoming Billy Harris to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame?
I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee, Tom Dahl, and also the Mayor, Hall of Fame Committee, Tom Dalby, the Mayor of this wonderful city, where we're at, here in the state from Ontario. And thank God for the fine deal we gave from me. Thank you very much for this. I'd like to say this was very emotional for me today. If I break down, hold me up, would you please? I came in here today, and I saw some friends that I hadn't seen for 60 years. And that's tough. One was a teammate, and one was an old friend that lived next door to me in Dorchester. And that made me feel, wow. And I want to say that thank you for everything. I want Maud and her family are here. They're my niece. They traveled all the way from Dieppe, New Brunswick to be here. And they're standing over here, and I thank you very much. I was playing hockey in Newfoundland when the Dodgers sent me a contract. I signed that contract with the Dodgers because Montreal was a farm club. And that's where I wanted to play. Being a Canadian, Montreal was a place to play. And being a guy that never had a chance to be coached or anything else, that was the greatest thrill of my life, to sign a contract with the Dodgers. Anyway, I want to tell you the story we had in going to Vero Beach. In the first year I went by train. They sent me a ticket. It came by ticker tape, by the way. And it took the station master about 2 or 4 days to get it figured out. So we left from Dorchester to Boston to New York. And we were getting at New York, the train stopped. And this great big husky guy comes on the train. He's sitting there he's sitting beside me almost. He said to me, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Vero Beach." He says, "What team are you with?" "I'm with the Valdosta Dodgers." He says, "You know what?" I said, "What?" "You're not going to make it." I said, "Why?" He said, "You're way too small." And it just happened that we got on the same team in spring training. The fourth month, he gets released. I'm there for 16 years. It's funny. I never had any coaching when I played. I never got coached anywhere. In those days, I never had bench coaches and all this kind of stuff. When I joined the Dodgers in '57, our pitching coach was Joe Becker, and Joe Becker was a catcher. He didn't know a thing about pitching. And all he knew was to make us run in the outfield. And we ran and ran and ran. And we had Art Fowler on the team. And Art had bad legs, bad ankles, everything else. And every time he'd make Art run, he turned back and he said, "You know what? If my running meant anything, Jesse Owens would be a 30-game winner every year." I come home in '54 to play. I was playing hockey, of course, in the winter times. So I come home to play on my team, and my dad says, "Isn't it time to get a job?" I said, "A job?" So I get on the phone and call the Dodgers. I say, "Hey, I need a job. I'm going to go to winter ball." So my first year, I went to Panama. That was something else. We went down to Panama, and as we got there, man, it was scary for a first. No one spoke English or anything else, and we were on the Atlantic side of Panama. And we had a big hotel, George Washington Hotel was famous. The whole team lived there. We had everything we needed. Anyway, I go to the movie theater that day. And we're watching the movie, and here come these big MPs. Soldiers come in and said, "Hey, all American personnel, please leave and go back to your wool quarters." Wow, they're going to bomb the canal, I thought. So we went back to our hotel, and we had no idea what was going on. We finally got the Armed Forces Radio, and they told us what was happening. And they kept saying, "All personnel, American personnel, do not leave the quarters. Do not leave." So, wait a minute, I'm a Canadian. I went downtown. That was scary. I went back to the hotel. So anyway, we went back to the hotel. We were there for 10 mourning with the president. And all we heard was this organ music. We were lucky we had a hotel to stay at. But one day, this little guy came in and said, "Do you want to go fishing?" So it's on the Atlantic side. We're going fishing out there. He got on a little rowboat. We go out there. I threw my line in the water, and I pull this thing up. I said, "I got an eel." And meantime, the little guy, he jumps off and hollers, "Milo, Milo, Milo." I didn't know what happened. He came back in, he hit the board horde with that thing and killed it. And it was one of those sea snakes. I thought it was an eel. It scared me half to death too then. That year in Panama, we qualified for the Caribbean Series. So we go to Caracas. I go to Caracas, they're having problems there too. We go to the ballpark, soldiers all over the place. I said, "What is this anyway? I wasn't used to this." Then my first years and I played in Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia. I remember some of the teams, their national anthem was Dixie. I couldn't believe that. One time in Valdosta, I get in a bus, and the bus is almost full. Back in the back is the one seat back there, and there's a poor little black lady in there. So I didn't know any better. I sit with her. All of a sudden, man, there's noises. The bus stopped. The bus driver stopped and come and yanked me out of my seat. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "You can't sit back there." That was the first thing I heard of a racist deal. Being from Canada, we never had that. So that was a different deal too. They gave me a day in Montreal, Billy Harris Day. The whole place from Moncton came up on a big train. And it was great. Everybody I knew was there. My mom and dad came up to the game. They got there real early. We were having batting practice, hitting everything. My dad turned over to my mom turned over to my dad and said, "What's the score?" He said, "So used to playing." I played with Tom Lasorda, as you know, in Montreal. Tom had two good pitches. He had a heck of a curveball and a knockdown pitch. That was his deal right there. And then when he got managed in the big leagues, he didn't allow anybody to get knocked down. They always got in trouble. In the International League, that was his only way to get by, I think, but he had his curveball. But every time they get in a fight, we charge the mound. They charge the mound. We go to protect him. I turn around and he's back, and everybody else is squabbling in between. Anyway, I remember going to Havana, Cuba in '59, and Castro had just taken over, and we weren't going to the ball game. We were the first team there, so Castro was going to throw the first pitch out. The game started at 9 o'clock. We were all excited. Fans were dancing and all this kind of stuff. They had a ball up there. Anyway, no one showed up, and all of a sudden I said, "Oh, here comes Castro," out in center field with a bunch of soldiers and stuff with these big burst guns on their arms. And they come in, and Castro went to the mound. The soldiers came to our dugout, looking around. Clay Bryant, the manager, says, "Give them whatever they want." Oh yes, while we were in Havana, there was no TV to watch, so we became sit in the lobbies and watch people. Well, we stayed at the Hotel Nacional in Havana, and there were some famous people there. So one day, Rocky Marciano was with us all the time, but anyway, the guy came to us and said, "Eva Gardner's in the hotel." Wow. And he said, "She comes down for breakfast at 10 o'clock. Wow, this is going to be great. So we all go down and sitting and waiting for her to come down. Tommy's with us. She comes down, our eyes are looking at her. She looks over at Tommy and says, "Tommy, my dear, how are you?" He went and grabbed her and they gave her a big kiss and they went to have breakfast. Well, come to find out, Tommy had called her the night before and told her what was going to happen. I took a balloon ride yesterday with Hal. Thank God we made it. Oh my gosh. We had no place to land. It was getting scary. It was getting dark. He kept saying, "Don't worry about it. We'll be okay." We did. Wow, what a trip that was. It was nice to meet Murray King. Boy, I sat with him quite a lot today. What an interesting man. And I'll tell you what, he is a person you want to listen to. This is what the end of my thing, what you call, I am excited, my knees are buckling, I'm nervous, but I'll tell you one thing, I am proud to be born a Canadian. Thank you very much.